Hi, wholeness. Welcome to my channel. My name is Rashida Silvertree, and today's topic is of spells and rituals. Ooh. Yes, spells and rituals. So I'm just going to jump right into the topic here at hand. Um, this is about how to use the Torah, the Bible, and the Quran as grimoires. Now, you ask me, what are grimoires? Grimoires are sacred, holy texts, books, if you will, that are ideas, insights, magical sigils, spell work, rituals, things that truly are important lessons, teachings, patterns. All these things are documented into a book written by and composed by a witch or warlock. Okay, yes, I'm gonna talk about the area of mystical, magical stuff here, because I believe mystical and magical stuff is very much in the patriarchal system, involving religion, right? So how can we use the Torah, Bible, and Quran? Most of us in the Western society have a few things here, have grown up in one of the groups, right? Either Christian, Judaism, or Islam. These are the people of the book, or we are called the people of the book. So if you were raised in a church, a synagogue, or the mosque or the masjid, you are very familiar with what I'm talking about. And this lesson or this message is primarily for people who grew up with the people of the book. These three groups follow a text. Okay, we each have a text in each group, and to me, like, the grimoire is kind of like a witch's or warlock's way of, kind of reviewing her notes, if you will. It's like a nice little encyclopedia of insights and information that she can look back on to help her understand, or to build a ritual or practice and understand her reality in a metaphysical way. And so it's almost like a journal, if you will. And so what does this have to do with these sacred texts? Now, like you're asking me, right? I would say, growing up as a Muslim American, at a very young age, we are taught how to write and read and recite the surah in Arabic. We had to learn how to read it, write it, right to left, and through much repetition and practice. It's very, very beautiful. Arabic is a very beautiful language, and so is Hebrew, and so is Latin, or even though Christian Bibles, there's so many different versions of the Bible, but they have Latin. I think that's the earliest, or I think that's tying to Catholicism. But treat the Bible or Quran. Well, this is what I'm going to say. These three holy books are actually spells, prayers, verses, surah. From these holy books, they're actual spells. They're recitations of something very sacred, written by the Most High, correct? So anytime that we open up a Bible verse and we speak it out in the name of Christ, or in the name of Allah, or in the name of Yahweh, the name of the great higher power, we're invoking a certain frequency and energy to help us through a difficult time, a challenging time. We go to these books for insight, for guidance. And you can use this even alongside, for those of us that have our own grimoires, for those of us that are on our own spiritual path, and we create our own spiritual practices, if you will. From my experience, I have actually used the power of surahs when I was under spiritual attack and going through certain things. Each one of these texts should be approached like it's a mystical book, not necessarily like the law of the universe. I think we should be very careful with trying to make sense of an ever-changing and evolving world and comparing it and trying to fit the world into this Bible or trying to fit the Bible into the world. It's just a reference, if you will, but very powerful reference. Anytime that I've recited Torah and, during astral projection or spiritual attack or going through something or just to practice and chant during prayer or salah, it was always very potent. It shifted energy in the room very quickly. I've even watched it affect people in real time. Energies that didn't belong or energies that were, welcome. It's very, very powerful. We underestimate my new agey spiritual community. We underestimate these texts. Yes, they're written by man. They are. It's part of the patriarchal society, or the Patrix, as I like to call it. Not the Matrix, the Patrix. Matrix is very organic. Patrix, it's a lot of manipulation. Okay? And most things have been left out. The Matrix has been left out of the real, the true, or the original Matrix has been left out of the Bible, Torah, and Quran. It's very, very heavily focused on male energy, male perspective, the male perspective of the role of women and of life. It's very supportive of upholding that patriarchal system and paradigm, which is fine, right? When you're studying these texts, it's very important to go into it with a very analytical, critical, but yet non-judgmental way. You know what I'm saying? Like it's almost like a study of poetry in a way, where you go in to gain something, but you're open to what you're gaining. And like these things have frequency and they have power. They really, really do. There's a reason why it's been passed down generation to generation to generation. Most Muslims and Christians and Jews don't really understand that they do practice magic in the guise of a monotheistic, monotheistic form, if you will, of this one God outside themselves, but it's all ritual. You go to church every Sunday, that's a ritual. Your pastor it tells you to turn to page 75, verse this. You get up there, or he gets up there, he says it, and then the whole congregation starts saying it together. You're forming, that's very powerful practice. You go to khutbah, for the Muslims out there, you go to khutbah every Friday, a Jummah prayer, okay? And you listen to the khutbah from the imam. He's reciting prayers over you of protection, of guidance, of reminding you. See, I don't look down on religion. People often say, oh, it's just the religion. It's the religion. Religion is relying on the jinn. And so then you have to ask yourself, what are the jinn? That's another video. But that's what it is. You're relying on the jinn. And jinn are like these mystical entities, if you will. But that, again, another video. But, don't be so quick to turn away from texts that have been written by man, because there are messages in there that are very powerful and very useful. That's the thing. I'm not trying to rip or divide the Patrix, Matrix, matriarch, patriarch. I'm forming my messages and my videos in a way to remind us of what is. Not what we want to be, but what just is. And so with these spells and rituals that we can use from the Torah, Bible, and Quran, I have to say this. I have to say it. Anyone who has mastered these sacred texts, meaning the Quran, the Torah, and the Bible, they memorize the whole thing. They can literally, they're very powerful people. Very powerful individuals. From memory, okay? Every single word, they have it down. I admire that, because it's a power that is very dangerous, because you can have someone know the whole Bible, know the whole Torah or the Quran, and use it to gain and to control other people that don't understand the word or know the word. Or you can use it to uplift, to guide, to remind. So it's a very powerful role to be an individual that can recite such a text verbatim. And yes, I'm a very much aware. I'm fully aware that the Bible, Torah, and Quran have been manipulated. Obviously, if that's not obvious, because there's some people who treat the word in these books like it's water. And in some way it is, but they're just words too. That's the thing. You have to be very objective and critical and analytical, logical even. You know what I'm saying? When you're studying mystical wisdom and information, there are messages in the church. There are messages in the synagogue and in the in the mosque that are important to hear. Just as it's important to go out in nature to hear the mother. The mother is the foundation of all. It really is. She truly is. That's the church. Man said we must build 4 walls. Man said we must build a temple separate from the mother to harness her power. That's why we have the temples. That's why we have buildings to become the house of God, not the goddess. The goddess does not need to any walls or anything like that. She has caves. She has areas all around the world that are of nature that can harbor us. So when we want to give her praise. So just food for thought, food for the heart. I'm going to start saying that. Food for the heart, food for the spirit. You know what I'm saying here. And most of you may be in disagreement of grimoires. I think Christians can, and Muslims and the Jews, people of the book, should make their own grimoires. Write down your own favorite surahs and verses down in your own book. And write down why it's special for you. Write down the purpose for why you're reciting it, why it's helpful for you. I think it's very important. I'm going to make yet another video regarding this on being very sovereign in your mystical, spiritual, ritualistic practices. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. My name again is Rashida Silvertree. Look out for more messages. Remember to expand your consciousness, evolve your human being, and embrace supreme love and guidance. Thank you.